Tonight, 4029 Sports is getting you ready to go hog wild and cheer on your Razorbacks in the Belk Bowl. The Hogs are in Charlotte, North Carolina, doing more than just running their best plays. They're giving back to the community. The Virginia Tech Hokies are a fresh opponent for the Hogs, but they may have an advantage in the Belk Bowl. And learn about a deep Fayetteville connection to the head coach of Virginia Tech. Now, from 4029 Sports, this is the Hog Wild Belk Bowl Special.
Woo Pig, and welcome to the epicenter in downtown Charlotte for the 2016 Belk Bowl pregame special. I'm 4029 Sports Director Mitch Roberts, and we're at a great Fan Fest event going on right now. As you can see here in the courtyard of this indoor-outdoor shopping center, they're having one heck of a party. They're calling it the Fan Fest. There's going to be bands there, all kinds of fans, as you can see, and even the cheerleaders. But we can't forget the reason that everybody's here in Charlotte for these last few days leading up to tomorrow night. It's the football game, a very important one for the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Virginia Tech Hokies. They had all kinds of events going on this week for the players leading up to the big game, and here is a taste of what the Hogs did all week long. It's been life in the fast lane since the Hogs arrived in Charlotte, to the Motor Speedway, where fast guys got to go even faster sitting in shotgun formation with a professional driver.
Those guys with the focus that they have to go around these corners and stay locked in is awesome.
The team also went to the Charlotte Food Bank using teamwork to fill backpacks full of food for needy children in the Charlotte area. Even in charity work, there's competition.
That's always a competition, man. Teamwork make the dream work, man, so you know how that goes.
A different group of Hogs went over to the Levine Children's Hospital to spread some holiday football cheer. To see such little kids in pain was tough, even for Hogs who were in the pain business.
They're going through things way harder than I went through, but I know there was definitely some hard things. There was definitely times where you have to kind of test their strength, and I'm sure that these kids are stronger than I am, and they'll be great in the end.
And it all ended with a bang, a shopping spree at a Belk department store.
Love it.
Each player was able to spend $400 on a gift card. But tomorrow night at kickoff, nothing will be free. A Belk Bowl victory will be earned by the team that wants it the most.
I think, when you have a bowl game, it's kind of the finality to the season. Obviously, during the course of the year, you always got one more game. I appreciate it's 2-0, but I'm just trying to go 1-0 on Saturday or on game day this week.
Well, the Hogs have spent this last month since the Missouri debacle trying to beef up their defense, and they will need to play much better on that side of the ball against a very powerful Virginia Tech offense. Expect a couple of new looks for the Arkansas defense in this game. One important thing is they're going to be looking at a 3-4 defense. Coach B and Rob Smith are implementing that. We don't know how many plays they'll run that way, but they're moving from the 4-3 to the 3-4. It's important to play well in this game, but also to get some skill set for next season and those players who are on the way.
I think the biggest thing, too, is, in this league, there's a lot of teams that have, it's a 3-4, but it's a 4-3 alignment, but they got guys that are doing a little bit of both, and I think we have those kind of guys, a guy like Michael Taylor, a guy like Randy Ramsey, a guy like a couple of guys that we're recruiting that have the ability to run like a linebacker, but also rush like a DN.
I'm sure offensive coordinator Dan Enos will have a plan designed for this Belk Bowl that leads heavily on Dan Skipper and the offensive line. To be able to get Keon Hatcher and Drew Morgan free, a good run game will also help keep the Hokies D-line honest.
They're an SEC caliber defense, and I say that with the highest compliment because I feel that our league's got tremendous defenses, and I think Virginia Tech is in the same category as the best defenses we've played this year. From a statistical standpoint and from a personnel standpoint, obviously, I just talked about Coach Foster. So it'll be a huge challenge for us, and it's like I come in here every week, man. It never gets any easier.
While Greenlaw is starting to get some work in, Dwayne Eugene and Scooter, a.k.a. Dejon Harris, stepped in for the injured Dre Greenlaw, also been taking some reps. In fact, Harris was named to the SEC All-Freshman team. Linebackers coach Vernon Hargraves said all three will continue to share playing time in the holiday spirit.
They've both been doing it. I kind of take them and go back and forth with them a little bit, start with Gene, and then I'll get Scooter in there a little bit and let him play a little bit. And then, like I said, Dre got a little bit of work today as well, so it worked out good.
Linebacker play should be a huge thing in this game for the Hogs defense. They've always struggled recently with running quarterbacks, and Virginia Tech certainly has one of those in Gerard Evans. They're going to be chasing around that guy all day long, so they better get their track shoes on for this one. He's exactly the kind of quarterback that the Hogs have struggled with the last few years. Guy can run like the wind and throw well enough to keep the secondary from crowding into the box. While it's a so-called neutral site game here in Charlotte, it's going to feel more like a road game, just like this pep rally. There are a ton of Virginia Tech fans here, only 2 hours away from Blacksburg. There will be a nation here, and it ain't the Razorback Nation, folks. Stadium expected to be packed, 90% filled with Hokie fans.
I'm looking forward to having a huge turnout from Hokie Nation. I mean, it's not too far away, and I know a lot of fans will travel there and support us in our last game of the season, so I can't wait to see all the orange and maroon in the stands.
Well, we're back here at the epicenter in Charlotte, but we're going to take it back home for a very interesting angle to this game. There's a man in Fayetteville who is very tight with the Virginia Tech head coach. For that story, we throw it back to the studios in our A.J. McCord. Good evening, A.J.
Good evening, Mitch. You're right. Originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Virginia Tech head coach Justin Fuente won Oklahoma State Player of the Year his senior year of high school, and the man who coached him, none other than current Fayetteville head coach Bill Blankenship. The two men have been friends forever. So to gain some inside knowledge of the Hokies head coach, here's the man who's known him and been there every step of his career.
One of the probably real factors, I was given the Tulsa Union job back in 1992. They had this sophomore to-be quarterback, and so they wanted to throw the ball, and they were trying to find a coach that knew the passing game.
The two were a great duo.
Finished as the Player of the Year in Oklahoma.
Fuente went on to play for the Sooners before transferring to Murray State. After graduating college, the Tulsa native was back on the sidelines, the last place his high school coach expected him to end up.
I thought he'd be a CEO. I didn't think he'd be a football coach. The guy was brilliant, could do anything he wanted to do.
Fuente met with near immediate success, serving as offensive coordinator for an undefeated TCU squad that eventually won the 2011 Rose Bowl. From there, he made his way to Memphis for his first head coaching gig. While Fuente's star was on the rise, Blankenship, who'd moved from Tulsa Union High to the University of Tulsa, seemed to be heading in the opposite direction.
I wound up getting fired after the 14th season.
It didn't take long
Within a day or two
for Fuente to reach out to his high school coach.
He goes, look, if you're not doing anything, why don't you come, be with us? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, an analyst or consultant and I said, well, and so anyway, that's what we do. And I spent the last season at Memphis with them. And
it was there the teacher realized how gifted the student really was.
I think he's masterful. I really do. I think he has a knack for being able to take guys and drive them really, really hard. And so on Tuesday and Wednesday, those guys will, they're driven hard. I mean, really hard. But somehow, the reason I say it's masterful, by Friday and certainly by Saturday, they think they're going to beat anybody in the country.
From Memphis, Fuente went to Virginia Tech, taking over for the legendary Frank Beamer. And Blankenship ended up in Fayetteville, coaching the Purple Dogs, just down the road from the Hokies' Belk Bowl opponent.
It was amazing when I saw the matchup because, frankly, I was a little disappointed because Coach Bielema and we'd talked about going to bowl practice and all those kind of things, and now I think it would be a little awkward to be at either place, and so I'm probably just going to try to go the game.
Now, on the Virginia Tech website, Fuentes talks about his coaching influences, and he lists Coach Blankenship, saying he'd still run through a brick wall for him. As for Coach, he wouldn't tell me exactly who he's rooting for, but no doubt that relationship between him and Fuente runs very deep.
For some of Arkansas's star players, the Belk Bowl won't be their final time running the ball. Hear from the starring quarterback and others on returning to the Hogs in 2017 when the Hog Wild Belk Bowl Special returns from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Welcome back to the Hog Wild pregame show from the Epicenter in downtown Charlotte. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm 4029 Sports Director Mitch Roberts. We've been covering the lead up to the 2016 Belk Bowl between the Virginia Tech Cavaliers and your Arkansas Razorbacks. Game will be tomorrow afternoon, not far from here at Bank of America Stadium, home of the Charlotte Panthers of the NFL. Well, for most of the Hogs seniors, this Belk Bowl will represent the last time they will ever play an organized football game. But there are a few others that will be just going out of here and right on into the NFL, getting paid. Senior offensive lineman Dan Skipper has been an anchor on the Hogs O-line for the past 3 years, paving the way for 3 different 1,000-yard rushers. First-year O-line coach Kurt Anderson used to coach offensive line up in the NFL for the Buffalo Bills. He says that a guy like Skipper could make any team better.
We were able to do some things with him that maybe he hadn't been exposed to yet. I think he's got a great future. I think he needs to finish this bowl season out strong, and obviously he's got a great opportunity ahead of him to play in the East-West Shrine Game. I think something like 70 of the 75 players out of the Shrine Game last year were drafted, and so he's going to have an opportunity to showcase his talents and his skills, and he's going to make a ball club somewhere.
Meanwhile, junior center Frank Ragnow had a chance to go to the NFL. One particular agency thought he was the top center in all of college football, but he's decided to go ahead and come back next fall for his senior season with the Razorbacks. It was really a tough decision to make given what his family has been through this year. His father passed away earlier this season, not long after watching Frank play in a football game against Alcorn State. So Frank did not have his #1 football advisor to help him navigate all the ideas, all the clutter that he's reading and hearing about where he might go in the NFL draft. But in the end, after a year after losing his father and all those tough things, he decided he wanted to come back and be with his Arkansas family for one more year in the SEC.
That's huge right there for everyone. Selfishly, I didn't want him to go, but just having him come back, I mean, he's one, if not the best player on our team right now, and it's huge for our offense next year and the whole team.
He's someone that I can lean on, that I have been leaning on throughout the season, all throughout spring, ever since I started to play. And it's really good for me personally as well for him to come back, and I'm excited about it.
But before Frank made that announcement to go ahead and come back for his senior season, he had to call an awesome trick play on one of his best buddies on the team. We're talking about Austin Allen, the guy he snaps it to on every single play. Here's how it went down. Ragnow announced he was coming back on Twitter, but before he did that, he messed with some of his teammates, including Austin. He sent them all a fake text message, making it look like he was gone to the NFL.
He texted me this morning saying, hey, I wanted you to be, like, me and my friends were saying, hey, we wanted you to be the first to know that I'm going pro, so just don't say anything, love you guys. It's coming out after practice. And then right before practice, he texted saying, just joking or something like that with his letter.
Were you bummed all day?
Yeah, I was pissed. I didn't talk to him all day. I didn't say one word to him.
A day after Frank Ragnow said he was staying, Jared Cornelius, speedy wide receiver, decided the very same thing. Cornelius finished his junior year with 32 catches, over 500 yards, and 4 touchdowns. With Keon Hatcher and Drew Morgan headed to the draft, Jared Cornelius will be the only senior option coming back for Austin Allen in 2017. Well, it's time now to learn just a little bit more about the Arkansas opponent tomorrow afternoon in the Virginia Tech Hokies. If you haven't seen them play, all you really need to know is about their quarterback. Number 4 runs everything for them. If the Hogs can contain Jared Evans, things should go pretty well for the Arkansas defense. He is very dangerous both through the air and also on his feet. He can run like the wind. He threw 27 touchdowns this year, and he's also rushed for 10 touchdowns. In the SEC, Arkansas has really struggled when they face quarterbacks with skills just like Jared Evans. Defensive line coach Rory Segrest knows they're going to have to come up with a better game plan to try and stop this guy, or it could get away fast, just like it did in the second half at Mizzou.
Looking statistically alone, I mean, you can see that he makes that offense go, and just a little bit of film that you see, I mean, he's obviously a dangerous threat, whether running it, throwing it, you know, design quarterback run, pulling it down and scrambling it. So obviously have a work cut out for us with him this week.
The Hogs and the Hokies, a matchup that you haven't seen before. We'll look at the teams next when the Hog Wild Belk Bowl Special returns from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Welcome back to the Belk Bowl pregame special. I'm 4029 Sports Director Mitch Roberts. For me, I think it's kind of weird to think about Brandon Allen sitting there with Austin Allen at the Thanksgiving dinner table, maybe around Christmas, showing him his rings like, hey, this is the one I won in the Texas Bowl, and here's the ring I won in the Liberty Bowl, and Austin sitting over there with nothing. Well, he's got his chance tomorrow to win his first bowl game against the very tough team from Virginia Tech. Here's what he thinks it's going to be happening in this very important matchup.
Picture this, the Allen family holiday feast in the future. Brandon will be over there wearing his Texas Bowl ring on one hand, Liberty Bowl on the other. Now brother Austin has his chance to win a bowl game. Now that's got a nice ring to it.
I was here when we didn't get to go through bowl practice, and this is a special time of the year if you're playing through Christmas and everything like that, so everyone understands that, and just excitement in the air.
Austin knows it'll be exciting for the Hogs to play a team like Virginia Tech in one of the newer NFL stadiums. But to win the game, it all depends on hard work. Losing to Mizzou has really hurt this bunch of Hogs, and they are bound, set, and determined to finish on a high note.
I think everyone's just got to buy into, you know, we're going over there to win a game. It's not over there to have a good time or anything like that, and we need to win this game. And that's kind of just our mindset and what everyone needs to buy into. And I mean, I think if you do that and you play hard, you play physical and fast, and things go your way.
And welcome back with the echoes of the Arkansas fight song being played in the background. Yeah, we got some Hokie fans here too. It's starting to heat up here, folks. You know, you got two great college football traditions, Arkansas and Virginia Tech. To get a little bit more on the rivalry and the history of it, let's throw it back to A.J. McCord with some stats that just might be surprising.
Yeah, Mitch, it might be surprising because as I was digging deeper into the Virginia Tech versus Arkansas record books, I found absolutely nothing. It's kind of hard to believe, but there has never been a football game between Virginia Tech and Arkansas. And while you hardly ever play a familiar opponent in a bowl, this is a little unique, and both teams say they're looking forward to the clash of two Power 5 conference teams.
I always look forward to just a new opponent, someone that you don't get to play very often. Arkansas being an SEC team, you know, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have a lot of talented guys, and I'm really looking forward to that.
No doubt the SEC-ACC matchup is a really good one, especially for Arkansas, because even though a win would put them at the same record as they had last season, finishing with a victory over a top 25 program would be a very nice cherry on top for Bielema's fourth year at the helm.
Next season, Coach Bielema will have his hands full with a new addition to his family. The head hog reveals how he found out he's going to be a new father in 2017 when the Hog Wild Belk Bowl Special returns from Charlotte, North Carolina.
And welcome back to the Belk Bowl preseason special. There's been a month or so since the Hogs have played, and in that time, a huge announcement. A baby B is on the way. That's right, Coach Bielema and his lovely wife Jen announced that they will be expecting a baby. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. That's the tease for you, but before we do all that, we'll throw it back now to the studios for a look at the weather for tomorrow's game with our Chris Swaim. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Mitch, you got me on the edge of my seat now. We'll get through that pretty quick and get to your announcement. Here's a look at satellite and radar right now. Clear skies overhead in Charlotte, but some rain just upstream. That's going to start to make its way in over the next few days or so. We'll jump ahead into the future. Here's a look at Wednesday at 6 p.m. You can see our model picking up on those showers just west of Charlotte. Temperatures ahead of that jump to the mid-40s or so. That rain will start to move through into the overnight hours of Wednesday night into Thursday morning. I think it'll be clear by the game. Skies really start to clear out. Temperatures get a little cooler by 1 p.m. Kickoff should be in the low 40s with clear skies. Mitch, back to you.
All right, thank you, Chris. The Virginia Tech band is blaring right here at the epicenter. The big news over the offseason or over these last few weeks was, again, Coach Bielema and his wife announcing that they're having a baby. And we thought we'd kind of take you back to that moment and let you know how Jen told Coach Bielema that he was going to be a papa.
But it was a Thursday night. I came home, and we've revamped our house a little bit. And so she showed me this piece of art, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I don't know what it is, because she had the GoPro out, and she was all excited to show me this piece of art. And I'm like, you know, you got to act like you love it. So it looked like a big piece of concrete. I know I could have done it for half the cost. But I'm like, well, that's great, and act excited. But then I turned around, and she had whole balloons and a whole little saying that we always say in our house. It was a pretty cool night.
Well, nothing's better than having your firstborn child, but for a football coach playing in a postseason bowl game, that is pretty special as well. And Brett Bielema will lead his Arkansas Razorbacks tomorrow afternoon into Bank of America Stadium, just a block or so away, to play a nationally ranked team in the Virginia Tech Hokies. It ought to be a fantastic game, and 4029 will be there to cover every step of the way. For Chief Photographer Ernie Hall and Patrick Clark, our producer, I'm 4029 Sports Director Mitch Roberts saying good night from Charlotte.